For today's educational piece, I'll attempt to persuade you that iRating and safety rating aren't the metrics or measurements that you should be using to determine if you're doing well or not. I definitely used to be fixated on these two measurements. I know that a huge number of people want to hurry up and get to the end of their race just so they can see if those numbers are green and increasing or red and decreasing. If they're red, the urge is to enter the next race to chase back those losses. But if they're green, the urge is to do the next race because you've got the hot hand and need to make gains while the going is good. I've even seen some D-grade content creators making videos focused on maximizing safety rating or how to get 5,000 iRating. Terrible stuff. And while both of those goals are fine and very worthy achievements, they don't always tell the story of how fast you are driving or how clean you are driving. Here are the results of a recent race I ran. What I'm least interested in here is the iRating gain. Next least interested in the safety rating. I know Justin just had kittens when he heard me say that, but it's the truth. The two things on this page that I am interested in is the points for the race and the incidents I had in the race. The points you are able to obtain in a race are determined by the strength of field. This strength of field is 2,720, and for winning I was able to obtain 145 points. As strength of field goes up, the more points are available to the winner. The number of participants can also influence the number of points you can get for each position, and the use of these points is to determine the overall season champion for each series. Personally, I don't tend to run for championships. I like to run a variety of things, so committing to a season-long championship somewhat conflicts with that. So the championship points I don't use for championship purposes. As a general rule of thumb, 100 championship points is what I use to determine if I'm going well or not. With road races, I would check stronger strength of field races than what my time zone has and see where my pace would put me. If I was north of 100 points, I'm generally happy with my efforts. It can be harder to make this comparison on oval or dirt oval series where cautions can come into play and affect the average lap times. It's hard to draw an iRating equivalent, but I feel like somewhere around 3,500 iRating is roughly the pace of 100 championship points in most series. This is a good level of competency that is well worth striving for. What I aim to do is average 100 points, which is a lot harder to do given the fact that some races things will not go your way. You could crash, your hardware could crash, you're not perfect and will have plenty of things go wrong in races. But it's what helps me with my consistency, aiming for that goal of 100 points, rather than checkers or wreckers, or win it, bin it. The other key thing I look at on this page is the number of incidents, and in this case, it's 0. That's great, and it's what I'm aiming for. Every race I enter, I'm looking to finish it with 0x. Obviously this gets tougher the longer the race is, or in different circumstances. So a short track dirt oval is almost impossible to escape with 0x. And so can races in some cars, looking at you, new Arca car, where Phantom 4x's are incredibly easy to collect. So while my aim is 0x, there is always the potential for a skill issue or going off track to avoid an incident, or I might hit someone could hit me. So generally anything less than 4x is a good result for a race. So when you click on your profile in iRacing, it takes you straight to your licenses and your iRating and safety rating. Fair enough, as it's also telling you what you need to do in order to move up to higher licenses if you need to do so down in this section. This is the first thing people see and the thing that they focus on the most. What I do is go to this next page under stats and scroll across to look at my points per race and incidents per race. The career numbers suffer a bit due to the races done in the early stages of my career, when I had no idea how to drive, either for speed or safety. Over time, these will both continue to improve as I do more races with my current ability, which will definitely be better than my earlier races. So what I focus on instead is how each of these measurements are tracking in the current year. My points per race is somewhat skewed over the last couple of years, as a lot of my races have been geared towards silly quests, where it's either very hard to get a race or I'm trying to find weaker races on purpose to try and steal a win. Once I get through this season, I'll be focused on joining more competitive races in more competitive series and properly testing myself. I want to definitely be getting all of these licenses up past 100 points per race this year. I managed it last year, and I feel I've improved this year, so that's what I'm looking for at the last 2 seasons of this year. The incidents per race are tracking well this year. You can compare these to your own numbers, but generally anything around 2 per race is very, very good. So these numbers are really pleasing to a safety crusader like myself. This stat is what can help me keep focus in longer races, or if I'm not around other cars and just racing by myself. I know I need to hit those marks, not wander off track, and try to keep the 0x intact. It's also worth pointing out that the large majority of races I enter, I have over 200 ping due to living in upside down land, so netcode is one of my biggest enemies on track. I'm not saying any of you should aim for these numbers. I clearly have issues and have taken this hobby a bit too seriously. What I am saying is that regardless of what your safety rating says, your incidents per race can really show you how safe you're being. And regardless of what your iRating says, your points per race will tell you far more about how competitive you are and what sort of fields you're racing in. What my stats show to me is that I race in a lot of weaker fields, given what my points per race is and what my iRatings are. This is mostly a function of my time zone and the races I have available to me, and partly a result of the quests I've been chasing for the last 3 years, which have dictated a lot of the races I've entered. So don't look at your iRating and safety rating after your next race. Check how many championship points you got and how many incidents you got. If you're doing road racing, compare your average lap pace to other races with higher strengths of fields to see where you'd slot in. You might surprise yourself. As always, I hope this was of use to someone out there. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.